We have breaking news to bring you that Thailand and Cambodia, the two neighbours, have agreed an unconditional ceasefire to end days of fighting along their border. Now, these are the two leaders shaking hands at the end of a press conference in Malaysia. That's where the talks happened, announcing the pause in the violence. It will come into effect midnight local time. President Trump had warned both sides that he wouldn't sign a trade deal with either countries until a ceasefire had been agreed. At least 33 people have been killed, thousands displaced since last Thursday when fighting escalated following months of tensions. Each side has been blaming the other for causing the escalation. But this is a dispute that dates back more than a century when their borders were drawn following the French occupation of Cambodia. Jonathan Head, our Southeast Asia correspondent, has the latest for us on this unconditional ceasefire.
Well, I think this deal came a great deal more quickly than expected. The mood in the morning after these talks were announced was still quite uneasy. The Thai side were not talking with great enthusiasm about them, and Thailand has not been willing to accept a ceasefire since Cambodia asked for one last Friday. The Thai position is they still don't believe Cambodia is sincere about peace. They're very angry about the continued fairly indiscriminate rocket attacks that have been coming over the border from the Cambodian side, which have hurt a lot and killed a lot of civilians on the Thai side. And the Thai military, which is much more powerful than Cambodia's, has been pushing Cambodian forces back and does not view the job as finished. But I think in the end, it has to be that threat from President Trump to stop trade talks, which finally forced Thailand's hand and decided that it must agree to a ceasefire very quickly. It's hard to overstate how critical these talks are to both Cambodia and Thailand. They're very exposed. They rely very heavily on exports to the US. Both are facing 36% tariffs from the US if they can't negotiate them down. And remember, the deadline is Friday. There are very intense trade talks going on. The thought that those talks could be suspended if they didn't stop the fighting, I think, was a great threat to their economies, to their governments too. Their governments need to show their own people that they can get a deal, as several of their neighbours already have. So that probably changed the mood. I wouldn't say either the Thai or Cambodian Prime Minister looked particularly cheerful at this meeting in Malaysia, but they both agreed to honour the ceasefire. The real critical job now is to make it happen. Fighting is supposed to stop at midnight local time. That will be a huge relief to the people living along the border on both sides. Tens of thousands are displaced. It's been a really terrible experience under these bombardments, so they'll be very relieved. But the two armies are still right up against each other. Still skirmishing. Even as the talks were going on, there were shells and rockets coming across, and there's a great deal of mistrust and a lot of anger, a lot of nationalist feeling has been stirred up. So it is going to be quite difficult to police that ceasefire. Malaysia has offered to help monitor it and will bring in other Southeast Asian countries to do that. It's not clear yet how much both Cambodia and Thailand are willing to allow outsiders to come in and monitor it, but that's what will be necessary. And it will be necessary to persuade their forces to move back from the disputed border, which has been enormously reinforced in recent days. Those are going to be big challenges. And given the mood between the two countries and the anger that's been stirred up over the past 5 days of fighting, I think it's going to be quite a tough job to make this ceasefire stick.